Now for what is tipping the scales, it's a custody battle, assault case. Kelsey Fitzsimmons is the defendant. She appeared in court on Friday briefly for a hearing. The 29-year-old is charged with assault with a dangerous weapon after several officers showed up at her home to serve her with a restraining order. Her fiance had been granted an abuse prevention order after an alleged incident where Fitzsimmons physically assaulted him the weekend before. Her defense says the new mother was just suffering from postpartum depression and had not meant to do anything bad except harm herself that day, not anybody else. Before we talk about it, here's Court TV anchor Judge Ashley Wilcott with more.
Kelsey Fitzsimmons, once a dedicated police officer in the Boston area, is now accused of breaking the law in an alleged assault against a fellow cop.
All the Commonwealth has to do is ask the officers. There's 4 officers that were at the scene.
Officers were at the home of Fitzsimmons in June. They were serving her with a restraining order that included removing her baby after her fiancé claimed she assaulted him and feared for his and their baby's safety. According to the prosecutors, while Fitzsimmons was gathering some of her son's things, Officer Noonan observed the defendant face him, lunge behind the door, and reappear, pointing a firearm directly at him. The defendant pulled the trigger and he heard a click, but no round fired. The officer at the scene then shot Fitzsimmons in the chest. Fitzsimmons was subsequently charged with assault with a dangerous weapon. Fitzsimmons claims she wasn't trying to hurt anyone but herself. She says she had been suffering from postpartum depression and in a statement said this: "My firearm was never pointed in any direction other than my temple. When I pulled the trigger, my gun did not fire. However, I immediately got shot in the chest." Meanwhile, Fitzsimmons is in custody, locked up while she awaits her trial. Her bond was revoked after allegedly failing to comply with alcohol testing. She says the injury to her chest made it too difficult to use a breathalyzer. Her defense is appealing the decision to a higher court, and now, in front of a different judge, a plan.
She's in custody, so if the case is tried and she's found not guilty, that's the end of it. If the case is tried and she's found guilty, that's a whole other issue. But the fairest thing, it seems to me, is to try the case as promptly as we can.
Okay, so we'll continue to monitor this case. It's an interesting one. Joining us now is former director of the Department of Family and Children's Services in Georgia. Tom Rawlings is still with us, along with Tommy Pope. Tom, we got 2 of you, Rawlings. This is this postpartum is a real thing. We see it come up from time to time. In your work, how prevalent was it? How potentially devastating could it be, a mother that is suffering from this known ailment?
Well, thanks. And, you know, I feel some empathy for this young lady. In fact, the police went over there before because she was having a significant mental health issue that was apparently related to postpartum. In addition to that, you know, we know because she was put on the requirement to do the breathing for the alcohol test, that she apparently also has some significant alcohol or abuse issues. So I think what we're dealing with here is a young woman who has apparently obviously achieved a lot, became a police officer, graduated college, got engaged, had a baby, but for whatever reason, she apparently really has some significant mental health issues. And to me, the questions are not only what happened that night when they went to serve the warrant for the restraining order, rather, but also, you know, what did the mental health officials in North Andover, in that area, do to help her when she was obviously having some significant mental health struggles?
Tommy, as far as the defense goes, it's a pretty difficult story to get a jury to believe when it's your version of it, when you may or may not have, but it sounds like, been under the influence of alcohol and you're depressed, against officers who are eyewitnesses, that they say the gun was pointed and she clicked. She says it was pointed at herself and clicked. This is not gonna look good for her because they're gonna believe the other officers who were sober and there were more than one.
You know, and I think you've even got the relationship that she was with the party, you know, so with the police department. So you got to say, why in the world would they ever want any bad will toward, you know, a fellow officer? And I'm assuming there's going to be body cam video. I don't know. That'll answer the question. Normally my answer on the suicide attempt is it's amazing how people are always successful killing others, but can't seem to pull it off for themselves. With the gun clicking, that adds an additional element. It probably gives her a little bit of room in there. But, you know, I guess, again, I don't do defense work, but I would argue that, you know, the police are trying to cover up for the fact they shot her and shouldn't have. But, you know, what this really tells me, Ted, is I see it all the time. Somebody can get too many parking tickets. Next thing they knew, they've lost their license. Next thing they know, they're driving without a license. It's like this spiral. And so using this context, one thing begets another, you know, because the fact they're coming over there with the restraining order tells us things have happened. Obviously, you just talked about it. Tom talked about it previously. And so it's almost, you know, one piles on another and you look around. What's the thing when you get to the bottom, just quit digging? When you're digging yourself in a hole, and it just seems like she's gotten deeper and deeper.
Yeah. I mean, more believable defense would have been I tried to commit suicide by cop because I was a cop. I knew that an empty gun, but if I clicked it, they would shoot me. Well, that story sells. The other one, I don't know.